What's up, everybody, to an on time edition. And if we ever need to be on time, I guess today would be the day. But as soon as I say that, they're probably about to do about 15 minutes of, lottery preview. And it'll be right before 6:30 when they actually announce the results leading into that Knicks Celtics game, of course, tonight. But Ethan, it's year 3, man. We're here again, another year, another lottery. And I was debating, as Winky, very excited as well, has to make himself known early on an important day like this one.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs have a 6% chance to get the first pick with their own pick, as well as like a 0.7% chance or something super low with the Hawks pick. But both of those picks do technically have a chance to jump into the top 4. But if we're being honest, the most likely scenario is probably going to be 8 and 14. But we're hoping for more, Ethan. We will welcome another Adam Silver rig.
Yeah, what's the likelihood for the Atlanta pick? It's either going to be 14 on the dot, or it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I guess we'll have an immediate reaction, Jude, whether or not it's going to be a fantastic night or just like another good night in this journey that's been the San Antonio Spurs rebuild.
Yeah, it'll really come down to that 8th pick. If it's not the Spurs at 8, then we'll get really excited. And
Oh yeah,
I mean, if it's not the Spurs at 14, we'll get really excited too. But I'm not expecting that one.
right. Has that ever happened? When's the last time that we had a team really take a big jump? Was it New Orleans when they went and got Zion? I can't remember where they were in the lottery that year.
I can't either. I
But I
probably should look
remember
it up.
was like a really big deal whenever it happened. Let me look that up.
And as I was saying, Ethan, the draft lottery has just came on ESPN, and about 15 minutes from now is when it'll actually start. But the good news is we got 15 minutes to hang out with you guys and banter a little bit before it happens.
Oh yeah, Atlanta did jump last year. I forgot about that. Derrick Rose that year, Chicago had a 1.7% chance to get the number 1 pick, and they got it in 2008. So
For sure. For sure. Appreciate the context there. Cody Castillo, Mudez, I hope I pronounced that right. Cowboy Tanaka and Henry Rojas in here. We appreciate y'all. Mudez also says Atlanta last year
right.
as well. His wish list is the Spurs jumping, the Rockets not jumping, OKC not getting the Philly pick, and Flag going east or to us. I like that. I like all of those things for sure. I think those are some good things he pointed out kind of outside of the Spurs that we can root for.
Yep, indeed. And I just looked it up. The official percentage last year for the Hawks was 3% chance, and they still got the number 1 pick. So
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm sure you guys, as much as you guys have work or school or whatever's going on today, you've been seeing the Giannis rumors continue to swirl, especially today. It started at like 9 o'clock this morning with Shams and Brian Windhorst on ESPN. So I just wanted to bring up some tweets if you guys haven't seen them. I'm sure you have. But I got a couple screenshots for you guys. So Evan Sideri, this was earlier today. He's a main reporter for Bleacher Report. He says Giannis Antetokounmpo would like to play alongside another top star who would take the burden off him. You could argue the Rockets and the Spurs have those options, but if we're talking about another huge big star, as much as we believe Stephon Castle can be that as well, I think Wemby is kind of the name that screams out when you see that tweet. Obviously, that's Spurs-colored glasses. Another thing, Giannis Antetokounmpo is reportedly intrigued by the idea of playing in a state with no income tax. Again, Rockets and Spurs. That was kind of the point that Wendy was trying to make today. And he also said keep an eye on New Orleans as a third-team trade partner. One thing I will say that's interesting, Ethan, because we talked about that with the David Aldridge trade as well, is that Zion is the representative for the Pelicans tonight at the draft. Now, that doesn't for sure mean they're not going to trade him, but that is kind of like, a symbolism thing, if you will. Like, hey, he's our guy. Here's the future. We're sending him there to represent the Pelicans because he's our future. That's how I interpret that. Maybe I'm reading into it a little too much. But for example, Mitch Johnson is representing the Spurs tonight at the lottery. So that's my little tinfoiled hat reading into it too much take that I could maybe take away from there. But again, the Pelicans, man, they are probably going to be a name, regardless of if Zion is involved. They're going to be very important because they hold all of Milwaukee's current draft capital. But last tweet I'll bring up, of course, this was from this morning, Shams Charania. Giannis has not made any firm decisions, but for the first time in his career, he's open-minded to going somewhere else. What are your thoughts on all those, Ethan?
it pains me to say it, Jude, but I think the Rockets are probably the best, or the most likely situation for Giannis because he wants to win now at the same time. The Spurs definitely have a leg up when it comes to star power. The Rockets have a bunch of B plus guys. We have an A plus guy, Victor Wembanyama, in terms of status in the NBA. But I still think even with Giannis, are we championship contenders next year? Maybe, maybe not. We do have
Close,
De'Aaron
but
Fox. We're close,
maybe
but we're
not.
gonna be without a lot of depth. So that's gonna definitely be a question. And for the Rockets, they're coming off a season where they were the second seed. They can dump some veteran salary like what's his name, the short guy, Fred Van Vliet. So I just
Mhm.
think it might make more sense for the Rockets at this point. However, like you're saying, if it is the Spurs, there's definitely going to be a third team involved to make it happen because, like we've talked about at length, we are absolutely not coming off of Stephon Castle. And if I'm Milwaukee, I start with him when it comes to trade negotiations. We have to get Stephon Castle. So if the Spurs are not going to include him, we're going to need some help from somebody else, like the Bulls helped us in the De'Aaron Fox trade with Zach LaVine.
Completely agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. Cowboy Tanaka in the comments says, "Am I the only one that doesn't really like Giannis for us?" And here's another comment from Mudyez, and he says, "As much as I love Giannis, no team should trade the cheap years of a potential flag for a 30-year-old. If we are talking number two plus stuff, it's another story." But the point is here is there's a lot of people that have been kind of going at the other side of this. As much as obviously the idea of Wemby and Giannis on the court together is a little salivating, like as a basketball fan, not even just as a Spurs fan, to have that combination of those guys who have that length as well as the skill set that they do. To put the ball on the floor and stuff like that, on top of like defensive versatility. Like there's a ton of like super attractive, insane stuff for Giannis. But like you said, we've talked about ironically the Rockets who are also involved in this, and the Thunder with the way that they've built up
Yeah.
their future and built into, I know that the Rockets lost this year, but we kind of talked about that in our playoff predictions, Ethan. It wasn't anything, hate to the Rockets when it came to us predicting them losing this first round. It was just it's their first year in the playoffs, just like OKC lost last year. I know they
Hmm.
got to the second round, but in your first year, you usually lose to a team that's more experienced. The Spurs that'll probably happen the first time Wemby's in the playoff. I mean, I hope it doesn't, but if we're being honest, you got to get those reps in to get those experience and then build up to a championship. So,
Hmm.
anyways, I say all that to say OKC and the Rockets built their teams. Like you said, you mentioned Fred Van Vliet earlier. There's other stars veterans that these teams have brought in, whether it's Dylan Brooks or Fred Van Vliet. CP3, was in OKC for a little bit. Obviously, that was a much different time, but it was kind of where the Spurs are at, on that in the trajectory of OKC's timeline at the time. Obviously, they brought in Isaiah Hartenstein. They traded for Alex Caruso. And we see what those teams have done. Again, there's also the conversation, though, of do you want to pass up on Giannis? So I get both sides, but me personally, just as time has gone on, the Spurs are so young in this rebuild. We'll see what happens tonight with the lottery. God forbid we jump up. And like you made a point a couple episodes ago, Ethan, in a couple years, there's going to be this situation. This is not the last time we're going to see a Giannis or a KD one out. Somebody's going to want that a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's always going to happen. And the Spurs are going to be, theoretically even more attractive than they are now, with the improvement of the team and the improvement of Wemby year by year, as long as he stays healthy and everything like that. God bless, knock on wood.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, with all that being said, I definitely see the appeal of not trading for Giannis and keeping our future. But also, when I see people in the comments that are like, why would you pass up, just this incredible duo that we could have, as well as, we can take advantage of rookies or Wemby's rookie contract. I mean, I do see that. But again, I just look at how these other teams are built up. And then I look at like what the Lakers have done. I guess you could say the Knicks are probably a team who traded for a cat and, have continued to kind of get better. But, a lot of those teams like the Brooklyn Nets, will go back to them a couple years ago and I know these situations, aren't exactly the same, but all these super teams that like force, and rush things, a lot of times it can, nip them in the butt. And then once it doesn't work out, you're screwed because you traded all your assets away.
100%. What's funny is like in the last few years in the NBA, we've lost sight of like free agency because no one ever gets to free agency, Jude. But there's also the argument, like you kind of pointed to with the whole money situation with Giannis. Like he's already making what is it, like $50 million on his
Yep.
current contract. He'll be up for extension. He'll likely get 60, $70 million, and we'll have to pay him that. And then it becomes a fiasco on who do you pay first. Wemby, Stephon will be up at that point. Um, but what I'm getting at is, would you rather give up 4 to 5 first round picks and a couple key role players to get Giannis now and then have that financial stress, or maybe sign not an old but an older veteran player in free agency in the next 2 years that can give you a 2-3 year contract at a little bit more of an affordable rate, and then you don't have to worry about extending him, and then suddenly Stephon Castle's contract comes up and there's not that issue of who do we pay, can we pay everybody? Because let's be honest, the Spurs are likely not going to go over the luxury tax, especially for a long period of time. That's just not the type of front office that we are. And just to attach a name to it, Jude, let's say like, I don't think this is going to happen, but Kyrie Irving this offseason is a free agent. He's
Yeah.
33 years old. He's a spectacular point guard. We already have De'Aaron Fox, obviously, but he's just like a name and an age that like, would you rather give him a contract now for 2 to 3 years or Giannis for the foreseeable future and have to worry about the financial stress?
And also all the stuff that you're going to have to give up in a trade. And
For
obviously,
sure.
like you said, Kyrie doesn't necessarily fit in the Spurs roster
Yeah, he's just like
this
the
season,
name that came to mind.
but somebody, in that mold. I mean, Miles Turner, even. I mean,
Yes,
I don't think that the Spurs are going to do that because they'll play Wemby at center in the future. But just somebody, in a position of need.
Naz Reid.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Also, I want to give a shout out to Walter Sobchak here. Hi, guys. Greetings from Warsaw, Poland. Waiting for
Wow.
that NR1 for the Spurs. So I think he means waiting for number one pick for the Spurs in the middle of the night. So shout out to you, Walter.
Welcome.
And if you are a fan of Jeremy Sohan, which I'm sure you are as a Spurs fan, shout out to his Polish heritage as well.
Yeah, we're trying to keep Jeremy Sohan in this conversation with the Giannis trade talk.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a whole nother thing there. And the other thing I want to say kind of about this Giannis thing, like if the Spurs pull the trigger and do this, like I'm not going to be mad. We've talked about it. Like me and Ethan are giving our personal opinion on what we would like. But obviously we see the appeal of that. Like we're not going to be mad if that happens. But I feel like with the Spurs track record, as well as like we said, all the potential future opportunities that they could have, I kind of lean to that it's not going to happen. But we'll see what happens here in the next couple minutes, Ethan.
100%. Like we're not stupid. Like we get the idea that De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, whoever at the three, and then Victor Giannis Antetokounmpo and Victor Wembanyama. That's a insane, you know, 4-man group there. Like that would be so much fun to watch. But from our perspective, you kind of have to look at it from 360 degrees rather than just the headline.
100%. Tan S says Sweden represent. It's
Whoa.
1:13 a.m. praying to the lottery gods. All y'all in Europe, we
Yeah,
appreciate
welcome.
y'all for sure. Especially y'all are OGs staying up late for this one. We got Matas Buzelis on the screen now, Ethan. We got Rolando Blackman from Dallas on the screen as well. So we're starting to get closer to things here. But let's answer some more questions. Pison says, what is the worst possible case scenario for both picks? Tan answers that. He says 11th and
Hmm.
14. So that definitely is the worst possible scenario and the worst that they could fall. And like Gremlin says here, man, if that first pick is not 14, then we're gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy in here. I'm curious. Sorry to go off the
Yeah,
rails
go
here.
ahead.
Tan in the comments, has there ever been a Spur from Sweden? I don't know if there has. Let us know in the
Hmm.
comments because I know we have. I mean, obviously Jeremy Sohan is Polish, but I don't know if we've ever had a Swedish player.
It's bad. The only Swedish people that I can think of, like athlete wise in my head, are all UFC guys. So shout out to Alexander Gustafsson, one of the best fights ever with John Jones.
I'm looking up Swedish NBA players now.
Oh, look at this. Mudjez is on vacation in Sweden right now.
Whoa,
So shout out to him, and he's from Germany. So shout out to all y'all from overseas, man. We really appreciate y'all Spurs family from out here in Texas.
Joakim Noah's from Sweden.
Oh
I
wow.
I don't think that's right. Maybe
I think he's
that
I
is
think
right.
he's from a military family. I'm not even just making it up.
Oh,
I
okay,
was a
okay.
military brat, so I think that may be the case. Like he's from the U.S. or some other heritage. But Originally American, but was living out there.
For some reason, I thought I remembered him playing for France in the Olympics. Maybe I made that up.
Yeah. Tan says there have only been 4 Swedish players, Jonas Jurekbo for the Pistons.
Nice.
If he remembers correctly.
Shout out him, 2K legend.
Walter says Pelle Larsson on the Heat. I did not realize he was Swedish. But okay, Ethan, let's go ahead and turn our attention here to the draft lottery. As we got some people coming up to the front. Is that what it's showing on your end?
Yes, we got 2 guys walking.
Yes.
They look important wearing suits.
they're very high up and important.
What's this gentleman's name again?
Mark Tatum? Yeah,
Mark
here
Tatum.
he is. Here he is. Okay, so guys, Mark Tatum is on the screen. Let's experience this.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Think you're ahead of me, Ethan.
Oh, am I? Okay, I won't react. I won't react.
Good.
I'm even gonna turn the comments off so I don't see them. I don't want spoilers.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Atlanta to 13. Ethan's already seen it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. You know what's bad? I don't even have the who's supposed to have what pick up right now, so I don't know if I should be happy or bad.
Me too, bro.
I have no idea.
Okay, so Portland goes 11. Oh, wow. Dallas just moved into the top 4.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
They got so lucky.
Sorry if I spoiled that for you, Ethan.
No, I think I am right with you here.
We will get to y'all's comments here in a second. We just got this on the screen for the moment.
I had to mute my phone too because people are going to be calling me.
Oh, I got to turn my phone around.
Toronto.
Oh my gosh, we jumped up. Let's go.
Are you serious?
Yes, Ethan. We jumped into the top 4. Rig it out of
freaking way. Oh my goodness, Toronto fell. Oh my god. Okay, all right.
Well, this changes things, bro. We're in the top 4. Wow.
Let's calm down, everybody. Let's just breathe. I'm going to hold my Keldon hat.
I don't even care. Just the fact we're in the top 4. I'm like, oh, Zion's pressed. Oh, poor guy. Oh, wow. The Sixers jumped up.
Jared McCain, I hate you. Actually, he's really good. I love him, but God, just his smug look. Oh,
I feel you.
Oh, it makes me mad.
Look at these 3 teams who jumped up, bro.
Utah. Oh my goodness, dude.
Oh my
What's
goodness.
his name has to be so mad right now.
Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge is fuming. The guy that actually got fined this year for intentionally taking.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. I have nothing else to say.
Okay, we're going to break.
Can we go to break? I need like 5 seconds to recalibrate.
Oh,
That's
my
wild.
Goodness. Well, I see all y'all in the comments, and sorry for us being silent. Again, we're kind of watching, as we're reacting, man.
Dude, my Dallas friends are going to be so fucking happy. Sorry, I just cussed.
No, you're good, brother. You're good. Drew King, one of my boys in the chat, says, we are so back. Lucky shirts. That's all I have to say. Let's see what happens here. But Ethan, we're in the top 4 now. That completely changes our outlook on the draft. Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper. One of them could be a San Antonio Spur, but also now we have a big trade asset as well.
Dude, Drew King's comment is how I feel right now. I don't even smoke.
He says, I need a cigarette for those of y'all listening on podcast. Man, everybody in here, we truly appreciate y'all. Cody Castillo, the awful one, Vane Stain, Drew King, Tan, Mudyez, everybody in here, Make America Great Again. We see you in here as well. Trippy Cholo, everybody, we appreciate all of you guys for being in here. And Walter says, "Yo, guys, don't have a stream. Talk to us with each spot, please." So apologize
Oh,
about
sorry.
that, Walter. We're doing our best with this one, but let me go ahead and pull up the current lottery or pull up the current results because now we're all flustered, man, from from watching that. But the Spurs, Mavericks, Hornets, and Sixers are in the top four. So apologize for not naming every pick there. Me and Ethan were kind of trying not to spoil it for each other, but those are the teams in the top four. So not just the Spurs, but Philly and Dallas also jump up.
Dude, what's crazy about that is all 4 teams are in a really good situation right now. I know the Hornets are obviously the ugly one of that group because LaMelo's been so hurt and they've just historically have been so crappy, but, like, if I'm one of the top 4 picks, I am through the roof right now because I'm either playing with Wemby, playing with LaMelo, playing with AD and Kyrie, or playing with, I'm sorry, who was the 4th team?
Maxi and
Oh, yeah,
Embiid.
Maxey and Embiid and Jared McCain. Like, you've gotta be so stoked right now.
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm trying not to miss this commercial because we don't want to, be too spoiled. So I kind of have my big screen on the TV without the comments on when it's there. But appreciate you, Walter. Glad that helped you out in some form. But we will react to this one, just like in
Yeah.
full form. But honestly, Ethan, as we're in commercial here, I'm expecting us to be at 4. I'll say that.
Mhm.
Um, Anything else? I mean, the fact that this even happened, I honestly really wasn't. I mean, I guess, there's a little part of me that was like the NBA wants to help the Spurs out, just because of, all of the tinfoil hat speculation that you could have. But the fact that we're here, I'm ecstatic,
Me too.
regardless of how this turns out.
This is an ideal situation, Jude, and I don't even know what to say. I'm like lost for words.
This is perfect for us. I mean, regardless of how it goes, all those burning candles in San Antonio worked. LOL. Trippy
Hmm.
Cholo says. And Mudyez says 3 of my wish list are already checked. Are we back on yet?
We are coming on right now.
Alrighty, boys. We'll do a better job for Walter here instead
Yeah.
of us just being like, ah.
Does Mitch Johnson know? I forget how that works. I know he's a.
That's right. I forgot about that. I think it does happen before.
It does happen before, but you have to be in that room.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because Peter Holt didn't know last year, but he wasn't a GM. He's an owner. So I'm curious how that works.
I think Brian Wright probably knows then.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Still waiting on stuff. We got we got David Stern here. They're showing him with Patrick Ewing. Still just waiting on everything else to get started. Now they're panning to Jalen Brunson, warming up for Game 4 here in New York. Hey, little playoff talk, Ethan. What do you think of the 2 games tonight?
You know what? I forget who's playing. It's Nuggets Thunder tonight, right? And then it's Boston New York. Um,
Yep.
I great matchups. Incredible series. I think I go New York tonight. Based on the line, I think they have +5.5 right now. And then the Nuggets. You can't bet against Jokic. That's my theory.
Let me think. Did they actually? They played yesterday. Now I'm tripping. I don't think that.
Who plays tonight? Maybe I'm tripping too.
Oh, it's Golden State and Minnesota.
Oh, right. I'll take Minnesota in that one.
Yeah, I'll go and say both series go to 2-2, but Mark Tatum's back up. All right, guys.
Charlotte at 4, Jude. Charlotte at 4.
Charlotte at 4. Hey, I'm happy. This is gravy, bro. Nah,
Philly at 3.
you're ahead of me, Ethan.
Oh my goodness.
Give me Cooper Flag. I don't want to trade for Giannis.
Oh, the two. Oh, we got 2. Oh, we got 2. No freaking way the
Hey,
Mavericks moved up.
hey, Dylan Harper and the Mavs. The Mavs are getting rewarded for that. This is total rig. No, no, no. They
This is so rigged.
sacrificed Luka. This is the NBA rewarding them, and they're giving us number 2 because they want to to also blow the Spurs up. Oh my goodness, man.
That's insanity, dude. Holy crap. Yeah.
Maybe the maybe the Mavs will trade it away again. Oh my goodness. I think
Fourth.
they'll probably keep it though and use Cooper Flag. And then the NBA can oh my gosh, they can farm the Wemby Cooper rivalry.
Yes, dude. The 4th lowest odds in history since 1985 for the Mavericks to move up to 1. They had 1.8%. That's insanity.
They've never won
Wow.
it. That was their first time ever winning it too.
Wow. Shout out the Mavericks. The city needed a win. You know what? He's gonna really enjoy Las Vegas.
Are they moving there?
That's what the city believes. They think it's all like a scam, so the owner can move
Oh,
to Vegas because that's where he's is centered from.
interesting. Interesting. We'll see the Mavericks and Dallas is such like they could have a team in Las Vegas and Dallas. I feel like if they're going to do
Oh
expansion
yeah.
because Dallas is such a good market. But honestly, I do. It wouldn't surprise me like within the next 20 years of our life, Ethan, if we do have a team in Las Vegas. You're seeing
Dude,
it with football and baseball.
number 2
Okay, yeah.
overall.
So here's a good question here. Sweet Noop, will we trade to get Giannis or keep pick and take Ace Bailey or even a potential of Dylan Harper? Because, dude, a lot of people have been saying, like, if y'all go watch No Ceilings, I believe Tyler Rucker is his name. There's two Tylers that do the show Tyler Rucker, Tyler Metcalf. And they really truly feel like, honestly, it's a two-person draft. Like, and then there's a drop off. Obviously, it's significantly better than last season, like, not even comparable.
Mhm.
But it is kind of like 1A Cooper Flag, or if you just want to call him 1, and then 2 is Dylan Harper, and then everybody else kind of 3A, 3B, 3C. So this is very intriguing because I mean it's obviously Dylan Harper is a point guard. So there's that. This kind of does, as I'm thinking about this out loud, Ethan, this does kind of make me feel more like there's a trade possibility. But as we've talked about before, we talked about this like a month ago or so. Dylan Harper could immediately be the backup point guard. And because he's 6'6", and we've seen how, Stefan's kind of been versatile this season, you could theoretically long term, maybe play Stefan at the 3. I mean, I know we kind of see him more as a 1 or a 2 guard, but you could play those 3 guys with De'Aaron, uh, Dylan Harper, and Stephon Castle. I know that's very repetitive with a bunch of ball handlers, but if you're going best player available and maybe down the line, you're not able to afford a De'Aaron Fox, that's so like long term, but maybe the back,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like
$100%.
he could solve the backcourt, immediately be the 6 man. Vane Stain says Harper 100%. We haven't watched him too much because we've been focusing on the guys, not in the top 4 and kind of in the bottom 8 to 10 range. So we're probably going to have to do some more tape study on this, Ethan.
Mhm.
But what are your thoughts on that whole conversation?
Man, I mean, I don't know enough detail about, which player is better or whatever, but I'll trust your opinion on Dylan Harper, and that, makes it extremely versatile in the backcourt, right? Like you could put him at the 3, 2, or 1. I mean, obviously he has a lot of ball handling skills, so you'd ideally want him at the 1 or 2. But dude, him, Steph,
Can shoot.
Devin, and De'Aaron at that four man backcourt rotation is absolutely filthy. Uh, Ace Bailey obviously has a lot of pluses as well. We can talk about that in detail another time, once we get a chance to look at tape for real. But, the Giannis trade also, like, this became a lot easier, unfortunately, like,
No,
depending on which side of the aisle you are on, because number 2 is a hell of a lot more valuable than number 8 and 14.
and they could get Dylan Harper. And
Yeah.
I know they have Dame, but we just saw his injury. And if they're going into this, are they going to move off of Dame if they're moving Giannis? And he can play the 2 as well. So yeah, but what I will say, Ethan, is if we do that Giannis trade now, man, we can probably keep. It's probably a lot easier to keep a Jeremy Sohan, for example. Not that that needs to be the entire main priority of this trade, but
Mhm.
I think with the number 2 pick, we can keep a lot of our other future picks. That might make that trade more attractive because we don't have to give up as much. I know we give up this year, but again, I guess that brings us to the question, Ethan. Everybody's asking us in the comment. Here's the thing. I know we're probably going to talk about this for a couple more weeks, or we'll see if a move happens soon.
Mm.
I don't know. I can't predict that. But as of right now, after this happened, what would you rather do? Draft Dylan Harper or make a trade for Giannis?
I'd rather draft Dylan Harper.
Not trying to just agree with you on everything, but me too. And, we were kind of talking about that beforehand, how we didn't want to give up all the draft capital. But here's the thing, man. I mean, that is like you never know how it's going to work out, but he would probably be like a rookie of the year candidate. Probably next year, I will say that Cooper Flag, I'm gonna pick him right now to win Cooper of the Year Cooper of the Year. Rookie of the Year. He would be Cooper of the Year next season. But like again, like I was saying with the no ceilings guys, everybody's saying that if there's anybody who's comparable or like close to the same tier as Cooper in this draft, it's Dylan Harper, and obviously he has an NBA family as well.
Yeah, man. Just build it. Continue to build it. God has given us a gift here. I think we should just take it and run with it.
For sure. Okay, want to get to some of y'all's comments here because there's 94 of y'all in here. We truly appreciate you guys. We
Mhm.
probably will wrap this up pretty soon here, but we'll get to some of this. I like how Cowboy says Cooper of the Year. Pison says keep the number 2, no trade. Jay says that he agrees. Carsick Colin says Dame is out at least a full season. Why would you want him? And he is referring to what Peter said. And he said, can we land Dame and Giannis at one trade? And I think kind of to go to Colin's point, not to completely dismiss that, but yeah, just the amount of cap space that would eat up, and the fact that he wouldn't be out next season. But I get the thought. Jay, another guy who's been coming in here recently, we appreciate you, man. He says, I can see them trading number 2 for more picks. So interesting perspective there. Definitely will keep an eye on that. Vainstain says 3-time rookie of the year, book it. That definitely could happen if we go with Dylan Harper, but it'll be tough competition with Cooper Flag, that's for sure. Could Castle, Harper, Fox ever be on the court at the same time, in your opinion? We were talking about that earlier. It's going to take time, but I think long-term, yes, especially if Steph's shooting continues. You would have Fox, and then you'd have 2 6'6" guys playing the 2 and the 3, which I think is completely fine. And I think also, here's the other thing, Harper and Castle are only going to continue to get stronger, and, they're not going to put on too much weight, but they're going to just continue to become, grow into men more.
I agree. I think Dylan Harper is a better shooter than Steph coming into the league as well. So if this is his base, what he did for Rutgers, then he'll only continue to grow in that element of his game, and we know what Steph has already made strides in through his rookie year. So I don't think it would be an issue long term.
I like what Izzy2120 says. Either we trade for Giannis or we draft Harper. I can definitely see that. I do see kind of the idea of maybe, trading for something else long term. There's so many options with this now, but I want to bring up Drew King's comment. He himself has some basketball knowledge and is a basketball reporter, and he says I wouldn't rule out Ace Bailey at 2, and that would be a more seamless fit. So just something to keep an eye on. And that's something maybe next week, Ethan, when we do our next episode, we can do an Ace Bailey and a Dylan Harper prospect breakdown and kind of compare those two guys.
100%. I don't know enough right now to go into detail, but for sure we can look at both.
Yeah, M-Easy says he believes Ace Bailey is a better prospect. So we'll definitely talk about that. But Gremlin, again, he says you don't draft Bailey at 2, you trade down for him. Number 2 is slated for Harper all the way, whichever team wants him. So that's another thing as well. So if the Spurs are really going to go for Ace Bailey, to Jay's point earlier, maybe they can get another pick as well as moving down in a position where they could draft somebody else that they like.
Agreed.
Man, Ethan, I want to go through some of these other comments that we missed, but I think really the main takeaway for me here now is our options are even more open. And I think we definitely need to zero in prospect evaluation wise on Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper.
Yep, that will absolutely be our next video. After, of course, our video that's coming out next, which is about the importance of Mamukelashvili moving forward. That, I think, takes precedence. But then we'll get right onto this number 2 fiasco.
Barlow's return,
Yes.
that's what we're trading the number 2 pick for. So be prepared.
Right.
Mudyez says, it's so wrong, but now I feel bad. We didn't get number 1. Greedy me. What's wrong with me? I'm not going to lie to you, Mudyez. When we were at number 2 and they hadn't showed it yet, I was like, I wanted number 1 too. Like once we weren't number 3, then I was really getting greedy as well. But we got to be so happy about this. Gremlin believes in 3 ball handlers. And like he says too, here's the one thing I will say: like he would immediately come in and be our sixth man. We kind of talk about he could orchestrate the offense. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I mean, imagine him setting up and running off ball sets for Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson or whoever it may be. Um, and obviously we'll see kind of what happens with the pick later. But again, I think the other thing we haven't talked about 14 as much. How are you looking at that pick now? With this happening.
Man, I think you got to go big at that position. I honestly, but it's also a hell of a lot more easy to trade that pick because we have the number 2, so it's not as valuable. At 8 and 14, you pair the two together and you hedge your bets. But at number 2, it's a little more of a sure thing. This guy has so much upside and potential to be more than just a late lottery pick. So I think that option comes right back to the table.
Yeah, for me, it's twofold. If we keep it, we were already kind of leaning towards a big there.
Hmm.
Now, for sure, even with Ace Bailey, we're still going to need a backup center, even if he plays the 4. And there were a lot of measurements that came in today. Like Ace Bailey was listed at 6'10. He measured at 6'7.5 barefoot. Now we talk about this. You put on shoes, that basically makes him 6'8. So I still think he can 100% play the 4, but we will be seeing a lot more of those. Carter Bryant measured at 6'6.5. So, he wasn't 6'8. Again, not trying to diminish like all of the positives for these guys, but that will reveal some things as well. And we'll have some other points, for how we want to compare guys draft wise. But man, Ethan, any final thoughts on this one?
I think we just got to thank the basketball gods and thank Adam Silver and the NBA for gifting us not 1, not 2, but 3 phenomenal picks in a row potentially. Um, the future is 100% bright. Even if you do trade for Giannis, like if that's the angle that you want to go, um, this definitely made your case a lot easier. So this is a good day no matter which side of the aisle you sit on.
Yeah, and whether or not you want to draft Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, the
Hmm.
Spurs are in the position now to really get one of these top guys, in this loaded draft. As much as we didn't win the Cooper flag sweepstakes, with it being Dallas, did anybody have a chance?
Hey, but Nico Harrison is the GM. I know people keep saying that, but there is a chance. He loves defense, so let's give him Blake Wesley. An
and,
unbelievable
and
defender.
Sohan. I saw somebody else say
Yeah,
that earlier.
Sohan, and the second pick, and maybe we just go get our guy Cooper Flag. We got to convince him that my guys just can't play defense, so Cooper's not it.
Look, Albert says Flag didn't sound too enthused to be going to Dallas. He's pulling an Eli Manning. He's coming here.
What would you do if that happened, Jude, on draft night? Dallas doesn't trade the pick, but they just draft Dylan Harper at 1. What do you do?
I'm playing Celebrate, that music, Celebration, and I'm like, let's go, Nico. I'm a big Nico Harrison fan. That's what I would be doing.
I would too. I'd go personally protect that man because Dallas would be wanting to find him. The population. I live in Dallas, so I'd be the only person in Dallas trying to keep him alive.
Oh man, I love this comment here from King Joshy J. He says, "Why would I be watching ESPN when SSPN is live?"
It's
I
facts.
appreciate you,
We
brother.
are I saw someone say it. We are the good luck charm, Jude, because ever since we started live streaming these, the Spurs have had some pretty incredible luck in the draft lottery.
Absolutely. Shout out to Orprepus. This is actually my uncle. He says, cheers. Good shows, gents.
Thanks,
Appreciate
sir.
that. Norris J says Carter Bryant or Danny Wolf at number 14. I'm definitely looking
Hmm.
for a big at 14. That's what Jacob says here. He's been in the comments a lot recently. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate all of the new subscribers.
Hmm.
Uh, Jocthan Makanga says, let's go Spurs. We appreciate you, man. And Jay says, do you take Dylan and make Castle a small forward? That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. And as much as we kind of talked about molding him into that point guard, I feel like this season he just showed his versatility even more. Also, we see so many point forwards around the league. And here's the other thing. Again, this just goes back to his time at UConn and previews next week's episode. Ethan, I was saying next week's episode is going to be about Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. It's actually going to be about a lot of different people because we're bringing in Lou, and he will talk about this because this is something that he harped on why he felt like we should run to the. I can't believe I keep forgetting the saying. Sprint to not the ballot,
The podium.
the podium. Thank you. I'm thinking of voting. Um, uh,
Vote, vote, vote. That
with
too.
with him at UConn and him playing the three there and still being able to impact the game.
Mhm.
But also, again, that ties into the long-term conversation. Eventually, De'Aaron Fox will be gone, and you could have, well, maybe not. I don't know. I say that we'll have to see. That's so far in the future. We don't need to get like 5-6 years ahead tonight. But again, y'all, we appreciate you guys. We would love to stay in here and talk forever, but Ethan actually is traveling tomorrow, so we're gonna let him get to packing and all that stuff. But we had the good luck charms, Ethan. You see Manu back up here, man. I love him. And Kasparis Yakachonis is going to drop to 14, but I guess we wouldn't need him anymore now that I think about it if we're going with Dylan Harper. Maybe if we got Ace Bailey, but I think I'm still riding with the center, Ethan. But look at the good luck charms. All of the grandmas praying to the rosaries in San Antonio. We
Shout out
thank
Pope
you.
Leo.
We thank you so much.
Yeah, shout out the new Pope. He did it for us.
Facts. Shout out the new Pope. And shout out to the new Pope for getting Derek Carr to retire. I'm going to take that credit as well. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all in the next one. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button below. Be sure to tune into next week's episodes with Lou. If y'all remember him from last year, we'll be talking about all draft prospect stuff, and he'll really be giving us the lowdown on Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. If you want to stay updated with the show, follow us on X or Twitter at SSPN on YT, at Jude McLaren, and at Ethan_Quintero. We appreciate you guys, all 150 of y'all. This might be our biggest stream ever, like
Nice.
live viewership wise. So we appreciate y'all.